Hello and welcome to an in-depth piece on one of the topics on Opinionate. Opinionate, the local community website for Crouch End and Hornsey, all at N8. To find us, type opinionate.ning.com into your browser's address bar, opinion8.ning.com, or just type crouchend.com. That's crouchend, all one word, no spaces, .com. Part 1, a very brief introduction. Today's topic is Hornsey Town Hall, a building which has had a troubled history in recent years. It has been allowed to fall into disrepair, it has been offered for sale as a telephone exchange, and it has been the subject of extravagant and unachievable redevelopment proposals. At present, it is the subject of another proposal, in many ways unlike the others that have been put forward. The current plan, as at the end of August 2011, is to grant a long lease on the building to Mountview Academy of Theatre Arts for a nominal sum. Haringey will then contribute towards the cost of refurbishing the fabric of the building, whilst Mountview will bring the interior up to the standard required to conduct its business. Given the troubled history and the apparent inability of the Guardians to deliver on past promises, I feel quite strongly that someone should bring pressure to bear on the various trusts and boards involved in the current proposals to make sure that they are actually delivered. The main points at issue are the terms of the lease to be granted, which must ensure that all the goals of the arrangement can be met. Continued public access to the building and to the Town Hall Square. Proof of the viability of the proposals before the lease is signed. Escape clauses from the lease on non-destructive terms in the event of default on either side. Assurance of good value for the proposed sale of the building plot. I'm not suggesting that we try to change the current situation or revisit the past, just that we must be sure that the Mountview proposal works. To follow up this debate further, join the group Hornsey Town Hall on Opinionate at opinionate.ning.com. That's opinion8.ning.com, or just type crouchend.com. That's crouchend, all one word, no spaces, .com.
You now have 3 options. Option 1. Turn up the volume and listen to some more of this superb exposition. Option 2. Turn down the volume and wait for the next programme to start. Option 3. Turn to the person sitting next to you and give him or her a big hug.
Part 2. A bit more detail then on some of the points raised so far. Is Hornsey Town Hall worth putting effort into? Answer: yes. Just type Hornsey Town Hall into Google and click on images. The exterior is striking, the interior is good and stunning in parts. Some of the detail in the ironwork and stonework is excellent. The building, taken as an ensemble with its grassy square and fountain, plus what is now Barclays on one side and Spiazza on the other, makes a superb setting for Crouch End's town centre. When was it allowed to fall into decay? I moved to Crouch End in 1982 and can remember going to see musicals staged in the hall. I think I remember Oklahoma and 42nd Street, but it may have been Annie Get Your Gun and Carousel. My eldest daughter appeared on the stage there in a show which was largely directed by David Temple before he found fame with the Crouch End Festival Chorus. That must have been in the late 80s, but since then there has been little access for the public other than to take part in consultations about what to do next. The roof of the main hall was allowed to deteriorate and the building was damaged by rain. One of the images, it's on Flicked River, tagged Hornsey Town Hall, posted by Malarkey, that you will find on Google, is of the decaying, mouldy, displaced keys of the grand piano which was left in there to rot. A cynic would say that the decay was allowed to happen, and council offices moved to Tottenham and Wood Green as part of a deliberate policy to turn the building into a basket case so that it could be offloaded and no longer Haringey's responsibility. It was offered for sale as a telephone exchange in the 90s, and it was this travesty that fired up the public imagination, and it was public pressure that prompted Haringey to set up a committee structure to do something about it. That committee structure is still in place to this day. It seems to me to be a typical Byzantine public sector setup, with layers of bureaucracy, terms of reference and meetings held in camera. And now, as far as I can tell, all the power has been transferred by the Cabinet to officers of the Council, despite all the good work the committee members have done and the many hours they have devoted to the task.
You now have a further 3 options. Option 1. Continue to listen carefully and marvel at the erudition which has gone into this broadcast. Option 2. Continue to do whatever it is you are doing so that you still have no idea what I am saying. Option 3. Continue to work on your time machine so that one day you can just skip straight to the end of the boring bits.
Part 3. So why am I worried? I'm worried still about this proposal for two reasons. One, Haringey in general has a bad record on managing large important historic buildings in this area. Alexandra Palace has been mismanaged by a completely inappropriate committee structure for many years. Just consider the Faroka scandal, in which a commercial company was granted a lease for no rent, took millions of pounds at the door and paid Haringey nothing. Two, the committee structure at Hornsey Town Hall does not seem yet to have produced a viable result. Criticisms I would level at this structure include A. Holding all meetings in private and not making minutes available. We're bound to wonder what they were up to. B. Setting out ambitions such as creating a world-class model of civic renaissance. For goodness sake, the transport infrastructure for the area consists of the 41, the 91 and the Ws 3, 5 and 7. It does not have to be world-class, it only has to be good enough. This is not the Albert Hall. C. Spending an absolute fortune getting detailed planning permission for flats on behalf of Haringey Council. There was not a cat in hell's chance the proposals would ever be built. Where would you find a developer who shares Haringey's view of the world? Sure enough, half the plans are now already abandoned under the Mount View scheme. The other half will soon be ditched.
You now have no options. You've got this far, you may as well listen to the rest.
Part 4. What next? It is my belief that we, the public, need to be involved in the final stage of negotiation. There are key factors that need to be written into the lease with Mount View in a comprehensive, comprehensible and enforceable way if this latest proposal is to remain anywhere close to acceptable. Let me read you some items from the list. 1. Maintenance and improvement of the building. In return for our foregoing rent, for that is indeed the proposal, we, the public, propose to charge Mount View at the rate of 1 peppercorn per annum. It must be very clear what the scale and extent of Mount View's improvements to the building are going to be. 2. Continued public access to the building. From time to time, members of the public are granted permission to look around inside. This grudging occasional boon must be turned into a full-time right for at least part of the building. 3. Shared use of the theatre facilities. Obviously, a theatre school needs a space to put on performances. I believe that suitably qualified amateur dramatic or operatic societies should also have access to the performance spaces on a well-defined and irrevocable basis. 4. A good price for the land that's to be sold for development. There is little or no sign of a property slump in Crouch End. We should expect a good price. It's our land. 5. There must be clauses in the lease which allow either side to escape from it if the other side defaults. I mention this because Haringey has recently defended its decision not to cut IT because the terms of its contracts with suppliers do not allow it to do so. Mount View must not be able to exercise unreasonable control over the building. 6. The Town Hall Square must remain available to the public. How do we achieve this? I have two suggestions. 1. Join Opinionate and add your voice to the Hornsey Town Hall group discussions. Add your ideas to this mix. 2. Come to the next Crouch End, Hornsey and Stroud Green Area and Forum Committee on Monday the 26th of September at 7 p.m. in the Hornsey Library, where this will be an agenda item. Thank you for listening to this in-depth piece based on the discussions on Opinionate. Opinionate, the local community website for Crouch End and Hornsey, all of N8. To find us, type opinionate.ning.com into your browser's address bar, opinion8.ning.com, or just type crouchend.com, that's Crouch End, all one word, no spaces, .com.